I remember one time I saw this guy.
How gruesome.
This guy hit a deer on the other side. He was like on 2 lanes, right? And he hits it and it flies across. And it flew right across like my vision. And I looked into its eyes and I was like, that thing's already dead. I remember.
So the eyes were in the back.
I was like,
of his
it
head?
was dead before it hit I saw it go like, and like hit the side and like bounce around and shit. But I was like, it was dead when it hit that dude's car. And it ran directly into the side of it. Like, like just like it was committing suicide. Hey, hi. Hello.
Whoa.
Hey. Sup. Hi. I'm Will Noonan, and this is My Golden Hour.
Oh God, what's going on? Where am I going? Dad?
Yes, my son. I am Deuce, the deer god.
I'm so confused. Who am I?
Derek. Your true name is Dercules.
Wait, what?
Yes. You are Dercules, the god of the forest. Season 5.
Hosted by your favorite podcast host, Big Bochi. You already know the deal, motherfucker. What's up? So, for reference,
Yes.
this is...
We can take these out.
For sure. This is a trap.
It's much easier.
So, this is our first episode in the new space. I came in today thinking like, damn, I'm wildly prepared for this episode. But before I got to sit down, Will saw me go full manic mode, up and down, trying to set up the camera.
Yeah, we're in the back of an empty warehouse right now. It's 90 degrees.
Yeah. Are you already starting to perspirate a little bit?
I'm perspiring.
Perspiring.
I got it on my mustache. There's this weird black sheet.
You don't know what's behind
Off camera are a bunch of men in black hoods with AK-47s pointed at me, and I just say whatever Conor says.
And we're looking for the ransom.
Yeah, whatever they tell me to say, I'll have to say. I'm blinking in Morse code. Right. Mom, send Hot Pockets.
Where do you run your show? At the crib?
Capo.
No.
My
your podcast.
We do that at my friend's studio. Brick Wall Paul is like my best friend, producer, all sorts of things.
Oh, and so you have a little commercial space, or
He's got a little studio in his apartment that he's built. He does Twitch. He does all kinds of things on his own.
I could probably use some of his help, man.
Oh, he's a genius. People send him emails all the time, and he answers with technical advice.
What's his name? Paul?
Paul.
Not Paul Rabel.
No. Who I've also worked with.
I know.
You're a lacrosse guy?
No, but normally what I do to prepare for most episodes is I'll just go on YouTube.
A little background.
Well, I'll just go on YouTube just to make sure I don't ask the same exact questions as most people. And the Paul Rabel thing was a curveball for me, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's Paul Rabel. I have to admit,
what a stud.
It was a guy I didn't really know much about before I met him because I'm not a big lacrosse guy.
Mm-hmm.
I love sports. I'm just not a big lacrosse guy. But he's like the Michael Jordan of lacrosse players, which I didn't know that. So meeting him was really cool. And then
he's like the only dude who's like, from my understanding, was making that bag off of lacrosse.
Big time. And that was my only experience working with like a famous athlete in that way. Like we filmed the whole commercial together all day. It was it was interesting to see that process because he didn't really have to, as an actor, you really got to like be on your shit. Can I swear?
Yeah.
You gotta be on your shit.
S-word.
S-H-I-T, shit.
S-word, man.
S-H word. You gotta be on your shit. You gotta know your lines, da-da-da. But when you're like a famous athlete, the whole commercial is designed around you. So you show up and they're like, hey man, we're just gonna say stuff to you and like repeat it. Repeat it back.
They're just marketing your likeness.
Yeah, well, they cut it. Like, like if you're an actor, you gotta come and have your lines memorized and kind of hit them on repeat and on command.
What were the lines? Was like, I got that.
It was like, I got that. It was super easy, But he showed up. He was like, what are we doing here today? You know what I mean? Like he had no idea what was going on. And then, but
it's the life, man.
But that's the way it's supposed to be. I hear that's how. I hear those Michael Jordan like Hanes commercials. Oh,
I forget what was his punchline in those commercials?
I don't remember, but he did them for years, right? Like no tag, no bacon neck or whatever. And remember that? You got
No
that bacon neck. But I heard that's how they film those too. He shows up, he's on the set for like an hour, and they just film his lines and get a couple facial reactions, and he's out the door, and then they just do it all later.
And that was the Paul Rabel treatment too.
Well, a little bit like that. I mean, we like improv together. Me and him did a Vine together. Like he was a fun dude to hang out with for a day.
This was back in the Vine days.
Yeah, he was real into it. He was like, I was verified or whatever on Vine. I was like a semi-big Viner, and he was like,
I didn't even know that.
He was like, dude, let's do some Vines together. We made one right there.
Okay, before we move on, so yes, we are in a new space. I'll have more information to come because the aesthetic's going to be totally different. I got a feeling this camera is going to look terrible, but I know Will's shot looks...
This one's going to look good.
You're going to look handsome, man. You're well lit.
You have no idea.
Jack and I constructed the studio within the last 4 days, and we're probably going to paint it. We got some more info coming, but that's for another time.
Yes.
Before we move on, also, quick disclaimer. I told myself I was going to start implementing into the episode. We don't do any ads, probably because we don't have the leverage to do so. But
no sponsors.
Exactly. But if there is something of value that you take away from this episode, share with a friend, man. Subscribe. We're good guys over here. This is episode 111.
That's impressive. That's why I'm here. I saw that you were. I saw the Drew Dunn, and I was like, first of all, it was a great interview.
Thank you.
Saw that. I was like, it looks good. Sounds
that
good.
That guy Conor looks like a good guy.
Yeah, it looks like a good guy. The whole thing looked good. And I saw Drew, and I was like, that was good. But then I even saw again, as someone who has a couple podcasts myself, I was like, 111 episodes. That's no joke.
A lot of mania on my dad's side of the family, man. Channeling
well, most podcasts don't make it to 11.
Well, I think as you know, so I started with most film stuff. I think as you know, production-wise, a podcast is very easy.
Yeah, especially if you just do audio, it's super easy.
Yeah, you just made the transition to video?
Oh yeah, I don't know, 6 months ago. And I don't do anything. I show up and Paul does all the hard work on our show, on our
shout out to Paul.
Shout out, dude. Paul's the man. Brick wall Paul Wall. First time I met him, he was fixing a hole in my friend's wall. So.
And you got that Joe Rogan brick wall to start your episodes too.
Dude, he does it. Yeah, that's that's kind of what we were going for. It was the Joe Rogan, sort of, just kicking it vibe. Mm-hmm. Opium and
that's what I got from it too.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, and it's growing. It's hard, as you know. There's so much stuff on YouTube. It's it's an ocean. It's
literally, but in Boston, it's not.
No, in Boston, it's not. But it is. It's so hard. I mean, I go on sometimes just to see, all right, what's streaming right now? Who's doing a talk show? Mm-hmm. I'll watch it. I do one, and it's tough to find one with more than 100 people watching it.
Absolutely.
Most people are just.
You're on Twitch mostly?
No, we're on YouTube the most.
Wait, stiff arm. Let me cut you off.
Yeah.
To my right, if my head is not cut off in this shot, I have an extremely accomplished stand-up comedian from Boston / entertainer / show organizer.
Oh, many thanks.
And again, he was in a Paul Rabel commercial, and he's in all your favorite Honda commercials. Thank you for coming, bro.
My pleasure, man. Honest to God.
Corporate shake.
I have to give credit though to the show. I'm not really a show organizer because
I love the Capo show.
I love Capo, but that's not really. I mean, it's my baby in the sense of I host it and I have I'm one piece of the creative part of that show. There's John Tobin Presents as the producer, the people at Capo. The restaurant Capo itself also has
immaculate.
Yeah, and they're so we work with them, it's closely, and it's been 2 years now. So it's this cool thing where I get to host it, and I get to do it, and I get to pick the comedians that are on it mostly, along with the production company. But it's it's this great thing where I don't have to worry so much that I can actually just host a show well and make the show good every week. And Capo does just a great job of setting it up for us. And
it's also a really good venue, I think, for comedy. Just downstairs.
And that's the thing. John Tobin Presents. They found it. They set it up. So it's like it's this team effort, the Capo Show, and it's a fucking great team effort.
And it's like a Monday too, so I'm sure they don't have a whole lot of hustle and bustle through there on a Monday night.
No, and it started off 2 years ago as like a thing we were gonna do on just for a few months in their slow months of the summer, and comedians are slow in the summer, so it was like this was just temporary, see how it goes, and it's become a thing, and it's one of my favorite days of the week, and it's definitely one of the things people come up and talk to me about all the time, like on the streets.
Well,
Streets.
Capo for my demographic is like the spot to go get loose on like a Friday, Saturday night.
It's very true. So my girlfriend is on the younger side.
How much younger than you?
11 years.
Whoa, we got a dog in the building. How old are you?
I'm 36.
Your wife is 25?
She's 25.
Word. That's awesome. How did it?
Show business.
Yeah, well, yeah,
we live together. We're very serious. It's not like she's just some hoe, but we're very tight. Love her very dearly.
What was that like initially when you had?
Well, I've dated girls who are like around 10 years younger than me a couple times, maybe 3 times. But I've also gone older my age. I sort of just never cared about age. I never. So like all those times,
as most dudes who like younger girls do.
Yeah, as most dudes, like you just don't give a shit.
Nothing but a number, man.
Nothing but a number. The girl I dated right before I met my girlfriend was older than me by like I don't know 4 years. But it was funny. Like I'd go up 4 years and I'd go down like 12 to 13. But I just was dating on Tinder. I didn't know. But when I met my girlfriend, I didn't know how old she was until I'd already been talking to her for like a couple hours. And I assumed she was like in her 20s, but I didn't know how old.
And was your family at first like, whoa?
Not my family, especially because it's not that unusual for me to.
Oh, they expected it.
To date a younger girl or to just.
They're like, what high school you been hanging out at, man?
I was getting that rep because I dated a girl who was like, when I was 30 or something, I dated a girl who was like 21 for a little while. It was another situation.
This guy's sick.
It was another time I didn't know, just met. I met her. She hit me up on Snapchat or whatever. I was just happy she was 21. I was like, Jesus Christ, I just came over here. You could have been like one of those 17-year-olds that looks, looks 25.
To catch a predator.
Yeah, it's like, I was like, this is a dangerous game. But yeah, no, it's just her parents are cool with it. I'm cool with it. We're all cool with it. It's like, it's one of those things where it didn't like really come up. I don't know. It doesn't come up that often. I think if you're like a new studio's got some flies, bro. I think if I was like 40 and she was 25, it'd be like, and I was maybe a different type of dude, but like a 36-year-old comedian and a 25-year-old, I don't want to give away what she does, but she's like got a very serious like medical type job. It's like we're kind of the same maturity.
Yeah, so it's just like my daughter's the goofball kind of. Is that the vibe?
Yeah, it's like, well, I love, her, I get along really well with her parents and her friends. And
shout out to wifey.
Yeah, but I think it's more like it
works.
It just works, yeah. It never comes up. It's not like once in a great while, I'll be like, you're on some millennial shit right now.
Well, what is the...
Or she'll be like, you're on some old guy shit.
What is the precipice for age for millennial? Do you know?
I think technically I'm a millennial.
I was going to say that.
I was born in 1982. I think that makes me like I think 81 is the first year.
Why do they call it a millennial? Is it because you grew up past 2000?
Yeah, I think it's like you come of age. I graduated high school in 2001.
So internet just started kind of...
Yeah, Facebook was just coming out when I was... Like Mark Zuckerberg and me are the same age.
Word.
So he was in college when I was in college. He was making that stuff when I was...
You went to school around here?
No, I went to school in New York City. I went to an acting conservatory down there called the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. It's part of the new school.
And where was high school?
Classically trained actor, Shakespeare, all that shit.
Are settings like that wicked strict? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I picture like the Lee Strasberg like institute as like very just like everyone's really quiet.
Well, that's Lee Strasberg Method was what we were taught too. That was like the school we were in. We were directly next to Juilliard, which is an extremely strict acting program. This one was, I'd say it was on the stricter side. Like we would have to memorize, it would be like 20 pages of dialogue every night between all your classes. You'd have 5 pages here and there from each class, and you're sitting down and you just got to know it all the next day. And then
It's like studying for a test, kind of.
yeah, and then they give you more stuff. And so, but it's great training, but it is intense. It's like a boot camp type thing for actors. And people think acting is it's not hard. It's not digging ditches. It's not rocket science. There's definitely harder jobs, but it is a job, and it's not something just anyone can do. People think it's easier than it is because, like anything, if you make it look easy, the best people who do it make it look really easy.
For sure.
But it's really hard to do. You can tell all the time when you watch a commercial and all of a sudden the person who owns the business is in the commercial. It's like all of a sudden you have all these people who are free-flowing and natural and making you feel good, and then all of a sudden a guy walks out and he's like, "Buy my furniture. It's the best furniture."
Exactly.
And you're like, whoa, what the fuck did this guy come from?
That Bob's discount.
Yeah, something like that. And it's just kids in a movie, all of a sudden the kid starts talking, you're like, what the fuck?
What's it? Actually, also before I move on, can you just can you tell everyone who you are, what you do? Quick synopsis.
Will Noonan, stand-up comedian, actor, I guess.
Great guy.
Great, all-around great guy. Dater of
that water's free, by the way. If you want.
Drinker of water. Acadia.
Stop and Shop brand.
Stop and Shop brand. It's a great brand.
Those are for you too. Yes, sir.
Do you edit this all like in chunks?
No, it's continuous.
Continuous?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So, what's up, guys? Thanks for hanging out to this point and finding out my name.
Oh, well, yeah. We'll do something at the end that we work into the front of the episode and the end of the episode.
It's all good.
Things are great.
It's all good, man. This is a great little spot. I'm happy to be here. Golden Deer. How'd you come up with that?
Do you want me to give you the scumbag salesman version or the...
Give me the pitch line, give me the shortest.
So, in college, I was making YouTube videos under the pseudonym Coach Connie. They were sketches for the most part.
All right.
And
What college?
Providence College.
Okay.
Around. Wasn't the best student.
I've done a gig or two there.
Well, that was one thing that I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit is when you had started going full time.
Well, I want to hear the Golden Deer
Sorry to
story
segue. ADHD, man.
I keep Conor on point in his own show.
I'm drinking some rocket fuel over here. Under the pseudonym Coach Connie, I was making YouTube videos, and at that time, YouTubers had just started using end cards that said like subscribe, subscribe, next video, XYZ, right?
Yeah.
So me and Jack, who was supposed to be here this morning, were thinking of a logo. And so my freshman year at Providence, the name of our floor was The Barn because it was just disgusting, right?
Yeah.
And everyone had their own animal. And I was like the flamboyant pony who was always doing like ridiculous shit. But I grew up in Lincoln, Mass.
Okay.
On a road called Deer Haven Road. So we were mulling over for like 2 weeks. Pony or deer, right?
Yeah.
Pony or deer. So these were back my Adderall days. You feel
Wow.
me? So I'm coming back from Sudbury, 4 a.m., right? Route 2. Fog lights down. Smash!
Deer.
Obliterated.
I've seen it happen many times.
What? What type of circles are you hanging out
I'm
in?
a comedian on the road. I see a lot of deer get hit.
You've witnessed a deer get hit?
At least 5 times.
No way. How do you sleep at night, dude?
I've hundreds of hours of driving
Just
over the
through the
years.
country.
All over the place, man. I remember one time I saw this guy.
How gruesome.
This guy hit a deer on the other side. He was like on 2 lanes, right? And he hits it and it flies across. And it flew right across like my vision. And I looked into its eyes and I was like, that thing's already dead. I remember.
So the eyes were in the back
I was like,
of its
it was
head?
dead before it hit I saw it go like, and like hit the side and like bounce around and shit. But I was like, it was dead when it hit that dude's car. And it ran directly into the side of it. Just like it was committing suicide.
That was kind of what happened with me, dude. It was like slow-mo. So there was like a quarter second where I was driving back where like I felt like I was existential outside my body.
Yeah.
And I saw it happen. And I literally just, the pose of Derek the Deer is like,
That's what it feels like when you really bomb on stage, kind of. You feel like outside of your body. At the beginning, I can remember that. I can remember feeling that way, like I was in the back watching myself, like, wow.
like bird's eye view kind
Yeah,
of.
you're just like, this is, when it's really that bad.
This is not clicking.
I don't know how to compare it. I was saying it to someone the other day, like, someone was like, it was like a question, how do you deal with nerves or whatever? And it's so hard to answer now because
you're so deep in the game.
It's been a long time since I've really felt a lot of nerves. I mean, even the nerves I get, like if I get some gig that I'm really like, oh man, I really want to kill, it's like a different type. It's not the same as back
those are butterflies.
Yeah, back in the day, it is hard. I mean, even someone who really loves being in front of people, and I've never really been shy to be in front of a crowd, but, like to bomb hard early when it counts.
Sucks.
It's just there's no other feeling like that. I mean, I don't know if anyone. I think it's what keeps people.
Where were your bad bombs in New York, or when you had come back up here?
I think some of my worst ones were up here because in New York you can bomb, but there's 12 people in the crowd, 13, 14. I did have a couple. I remember I did a show for the Huffington Post down there. It was like one of my first big shows, and I bombed hard, and it was like kind of the lesson of, I shouldn't have even done this show. It's like a nerdy political comedy show, and I just took the gig because like I'll take anything. Mm-hmm. But then I realized like I don't do political jokes. I do like fucking like, especially at that time, I did like really celebrity heavy, just pop culture jokes.
Well, you had some hilarious joke at the Cap one night. There was some dude, you're like, what sports do you play? I don't know if you remember this. You're like, what sports do you play? He was like, football, baseball, soccer. Do you remember this? And you kept calling him football, baseball, soccer. I was like, that's the most disrespectful shit. That shit was hilarious.
That does sound like me. Big football, baseball. I say like make fun of the waist, football, baseball, soccer. You had it ready.
Exactly.
I always like how there's a certain type of dude. It's usually a jock type dude. When you ask him their name, they're so used to acting cool. Like, what do you want for lunch? I don't know. Like they're so used to just that mode that even when you ask them their own name, they go, hey dude, what's your name? They go, Brian. Like they don't even know. And it's in that space of time where they're going like, they're like, whoa, don't say anything my friends will think is gay.
What would be a fire name to choose?
Yeah, don't say anything lame. Like, what is your name? Who's looking at you? It's like they're doing math. I just laugh. People think that women are the only vapid, like, self-centered people on earth, but guys are constantly, like, picturing a camera crew that's a non-existent camera crew filming them.
Kind of like this one.
Like, we have a real one.
On these $100,000 cameras.
100,000. They're this big.
Can you just do a quick translation on what the word vapid means?
Vapid? It's like...
what a question from Butch Bonnie.
It means like shallow and, like the women on The Bachelor would be considered very vapid. Like not a lot below the surface. Just kind of like a...
You know what they want type thing.
Yeah, just not... vapid is sort of like what you see is on the surface is what you get. There's not a lot of depth to the person. So
where did you go to high school?
I went to Milton High School. I graduated from Milton High School. I did some time in Catholic school.
Where?
Before that, at St. Sebastian's in Needham. I don't even really like to shout them out.
Wildly familiar with the arrows, man.
I don't want them to ever... I did not have a pleasurable experience there, so
I could see you not really fitting into that setting.
I did not fit in well there at all. Because you really... I know, right? Like, so you know that... I was maybe as ill-equipped for, like, Catholic...
I was going to say, were you very unfiltered?
Prep school. Yeah, I was a real punk, actually. I was kind of like... smoking a lot of cigarettes.
Wearing
like,
DC shoes. Hitting the heelys.
Like, fucking... I smoked butts, like, I didn't even like it. I remember, like, I didn't even really like it, but I just was like, I gotta do something to just, like, show my disdain for... It was like prison,
Were you a non-athlete?
No, I was a 3-sport athlete.
And you were good?
I was okay. Like, you couldn't really go to that school. And like, even though I was, like, the artsy kid... I still played hockey. I still played every season. I played a sport. And I like it. I still
it's just
love
part
it.
of the culture at a lot of these Catholic schools.
Yeah.
Is like because it's all dudes.
Yeah, it's all dude. I mean, and it's crazy. Like a lot of those guys I went to school with ended up being pro hockey players, and it's like the hallways. When you're in 7th grade and you're sharing the hallways of a school with a dude who's like been held back 3 times and he's gonna play. I mean, there were full-grown men with like beards at that school.
And you say, "What's your name?" He goes,
Mike, Mike Pandolfo. Yeah, so it was. I got. I had some good times and bad times there. I think it's one of those kind of like life things where if I had never gone there, I might have never became an actor because there was this teacher there who sort of saw that I didn't belong there and saw that I was having a rough time, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you do this play? Like, why don't you audition for this thing?"
and you were making jokes about the rectory. I'm sure.
Yeah, like he totally, this guy, Steve Rogers, same name.
Shout out to Steve.
Same name as Captain America.
Whoa. Who actually went to the high school I went to?
Chris Evans?
Yes, sir.
Fucking A. I love Captain America.
That's a huge accomplishment
That's
for
a
me.
huge accomplishment.
Continue, my fault.
No, so this guy, he's sort of, I really think he did the thing teachers were supposed to do, which is he was like, I bet this kid he doesn't know that he's meant for the stage or whatever. So anyway, he got me these parts. He gave me big parts in the plays, and never molested me or anything. Never did anything creepy. Just was a great teacher. And so I always kind of want to say, as much as I had a horrible time there, that came from it. So
You became a thespian.
and then I ended up going back to public school and continuing with the acting stuff there. And I won like these Boston Globe, Massachusetts acting awards. And then I got to go to acting school. So then it was like, I could show those to my parents and be like, hey, like I won these awards. Like you should let me go to this school where they don't teach anything but acting, which is kind of a tough sell when you're 18 years old.
For sure. Especially if you're from Milton, I'm sure most kids are going to normal school.
My brother went to Harvard, But I'm like,
oh, so you just come from that super genius family?
yeah, but I was kind of like, my dad's a Boston cop, my mom's a teacher, but we're all like sort of, when we get into something, we just obsessively work hard at it. Like that's the thing in our family.
Same way, man.
Yeah, so
Are you full Irish?
I'm Irish and Scottish, so it's kind of.
So you kind of got that mania in your blood too.
Yeah, we drink hard, we work hard, all that shit. But yeah, so I always, as much as I kind of had a miserable time in Catholic school, and I thought I would never, ever send my kid to a place like that.
I feel
good stuff came from it, though.
I feel like that's kind of like a life hindsight thing, though, right? It's just like everything you do in your life just leads up to where you're at
Yeah,
now.
and nothing is completely bad or completely good. Like a bad relationship, as much as it can suck to go through it,
You learn from it.
you
right?
learn from it, and you won't make those same mistakes again, or you won't walk into the same thing. So it's like that is true, as much as that sucked. But it's crazy how like my memory works. Like I have a very good memory, and I remember a lot of my childhood. I was at that school for like 4 years, and I have like 3 memories. It's weird how when you're
blocked
not
it
having
out.
a good time, it's like the computer's not saving.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
I think it's like a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Kinda.
It's like you're just not present. You're not taking it in.
You don't feel like yourself.
Yeah, it's very like I have more memories from like the 2 years I was at Milton High than the 4 years I was at.
So at Seb's, you were at that other school.
That other school.
It was
I don't even like
Voldemort.
Yeah, it's true. I
Yeah,
don't,
who should not be
I don't
named.
like it because they're totally the type of place that would, despite me saying all this shit, would be like, look at this guy. He went here. He's doing well now, and it's all because he went here. Like they're the first school that would do that.
Yeah, I think it's a tough situation. Like I definitely couldn't have functioned in like a Catholic school growing up too.
Yeah.
You probably felt stifled, I'm sure, for the most part.
Yeah, I think I was just, I don't know. Like looking back, I think this sounds kind of like trite, but I was growing up. I was like looking forward to high school. I was looking forward to chicks. I was looking forward to like dating and the stuff
Smoking
I'd seen on
cigs.
TV. Like I wanted the Saved by the Bell life.
You wanted that Breakfast Club speaker over your head type life.
I wanted that, and then I'm sitting there with a tie, with an alcoholic guy who hasn't been tested. You know what I mean? That's the thing. The teachers at those schools, they just get hired and then they stay there forever. And there's no government or anything that's really watching them or anything like that. So half these guys were like checked out drunks who were there to coach football or to, they had some other job that really like they did at the school.
Were your parents Catholic? Is that why?
Yeah, but I think it was, I totally don't think my parents were I don't think it was anything other than they thought they were doing 100% the right thing. Like it had worked out very well for my brother and sister, private school. And, it wasn't like, and I think they were just saying like, hey, this is the best we work hard. We can send our kids to private school. I don't think it had anything to do with like anything else.
just because like my father's side of the family, I kind of feel like if your dad like worked blue collar, my dad kind of did the same thing. There's just like there's still kind of that Catholic presence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was something like that. I think my mom put a lot of value on like pride, which is funny because she was a public school teacher, but I think she saw a lot of like value in the small classrooms of a private school,
especially if her son was ADHD off the walls. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think she saw too that I was in the junior high, a public junior high. I was like popular, but I was popular because I was kind of like wild and crazy.
Yeah, I was the same way, man.
So she was like, let's get him like into a. So I don't think anyone can really be painted as a villain, except for some of the administrators at the Catholic school. But even amongst Catholic schools,
Will's still pissed. I know,
I am still pissed. There are people there that
it's over, dude.
Sometimes I have this fantasy that they'll like invite me back to make a speech, right? And I have two fantasies. One is like I just say no, that's it. And the second one is I say yes, and I go back and I make a speech.
You flip off the crowd.
And then like halfway through, I'm like, and if you're a kid out there right now and you hate this place and you just hate everyone around you and you hate coming here every day and you think
you're
like,
sick.
This is going to last forever, let me tell you something. This doesn't last forever. It's a minute in your life, and when you're out of here, you'll be doing better, and you'll be happy, and you'll be fucking smoking weed on your own couch.
And you'll wear whatever DC shoes you want.
Yeah, and you don't have to wear a tie, and this is all bullshit.
You could run your own podcast with all your old high school teachers.
I know. It is funny, though. Sometimes, like I said earlier, though, I'll meet dudes will come up to me. I do have some friends from there that, not friends, like I still hang out with, really, but guys I remember. People come up to me sometimes and be like, dude, it's Joe from that school. We blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no fucking idea. No idea. I don't remember you.
Blinked it out, man.
Yeah. It's so weird.
So,
got deep. I knew this was one of those shows where you like get real.
I just try to be honest, man.
Yeah, I like that.
So
you're not like, who are your influences? You know, it's like a real shit.
Oh, well, you don't know my next question.
Your next question is,
who are your favorite comics, man?
How do you like working the game right now?
So was there ever, at what point for you did you kind of understand that you had an intelligence that a lot of the other people growing up didn't have? Because mind you, I consider myself kind of a funny dude, you know what I'm saying? Not in the same sense.
Picking up that vibe.
But you pick up the vibe that I think that of myself, right?
No, I'm picking up your funny dude.
But
Golden Deer.
I think in like probably 4th, 5th grade, I was like, damn, I can make kids laugh, and this isn't like totally normal. Like most people can't do this.
I remember like playing hockey as a kid and making the coaches laugh, and I remember thinking like, these other kids aren't making the coaches laugh.
I know how to make these old white dudes laugh.
Yeah, like I'm making everyone laugh and the coach. You know, I remember noticing that. I also, my brother and sister are much older than me. They're 7 years and 9 years older. So it's kind of like I was used to this.
You're the youngest, though?
I'm the youngest.
Me too, man.
By a lot. So that's something I see over and over again in stand-up comedy is the youngest child of the family. And I think there's a serious connection there where it's, you got to be funny to fucking survive that shit. And, you know, not to survive it like, oh, like you're going to get abused. But I just mean to get your place in the conversation, to earn
demand
your
the
spot
attention
in the conversation, to just be part of the mix. You got to make it in there.
Assert yourself.
And as the kid, you realize, as the cute kid at the beginning, you can do it by saying something cute and funny. And then as you get older and less cute, you just gotta be funny.
So that was like 4th grade for you, or?
Yeah, I think I around that age. I remember my dad always tells a story about me at some relative's wedding.
I knew my son was going to be a star.
Yeah, he always tells a story about me at a wedding or something when I was like 6 or 7, and I had the DJ. I asked the DJ to put on a Michael Jackson song, and I did like Michael Jackson moves in front of the whole wedding.
So you had that natural entertainment sense.
And my dad was like, "What the hell?" Like, he did this all on his own. He like went up there. He asked the DJ to play this song. He like made everyone look at him, and now he's dancing for all these people. And he was like, "That's just an interesting." He always tells me that, like he thought then something was going on.
Something was special about this kid.
Yeah, but I can't remember. I really can't remember a time where I wasn't trying. Like I wasn't of that mindset. I just think I always liked. It sounds really corny. You know?
I like making people laugh.
I really do. It sounds really corny, but it's like still to this day. Like I get all excited sometimes when there's like I live near an old folks home and none of them know anything about comedy or anything. They don't know. They don't think I'm a comedian. Why would you assume this dude you're talking to in your neighborhood is a comedian? So if I can make people who don't know I'm a comedian, you just get laughs out of people. Like a baby. They don't even speak English. If you make a baby laugh, that means you're fucking funny.
Or you're being a little too aggressive.
Just shake them until they laugh.
Laugh,
Okay,
baby. So
I do enjoy that. I always have.
So I try to get a little hashtag value, for the listeners or the watchers.
Yeah.
So
Self-help.
So you're totally full-time comedian in Boston. Which before
not just Boston, but yeah. I mean, I live in Boston, but you got to travel a little bit to be full time.
Okay, so yeah, that's what Drew was saying.
Yeah.
So you hop in the Accord and you
take that Accord, Honda Accord. I go all over, man. I've put so many miles on that thing in the past 7 years.
And so Will's also the face of a bunch of big Honda New England commercials, and they didn't even hook it up with a booster whip. Like that new pilot.
We're in talks, but honest to God, I don't want anything other than more gigs. That's always kind of. Anytime someone says something like, "Hey, why don't you ask him for a car?" Or like, "Good car," I'm like, I don't want to ask anyone for anything. I like that they keep calling me and asking me to be in the commercials.
Go straight to that studio with that white backdrop.
Yeah, they're like fun to make, fun people. The
production's easy.
I've been in like, I don't know, like 30 commercials.
No way.
Over the years. Yeah.
Wow.
And these are, and I'm not kidding. I'm not like just saying it. Like they are my favorite crew, favorite directors, favorite writers.
Professional.
Like they're just fun. Like I legitimately would have dinner with them, hang out with all of them. Like they're fun people, which is not always the case.
Do they outsource the production company?
It's all like pieced. Yeah. It's like everything. It's like, just like I'm an actor. There's people out there who make commercials. There's companies that just so say you own a Burger King franchise and you want to make a commercial for it. It's like you got to go find the people who can write it and cast it. And
is that Boston based, the company, or?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's a few Boston based commercial companies, advertising.
How do you pick up most of the gigs? Boston casting.
There's like 4 or 5 casting agencies in Boston and in Quincy and the surrounding towns.
Boston casting's that juggernaut though, right?
They're the juggernaut. They're the one that they have a database so you can sort of easily.
I'm in that database.
Yeah, I always tell people to get in that, man.
Well,
that's how I started up here.
Want to hear the craziest thing? Did you watch the whole Drew interview? Or pieces?
I did watch most
Bro,
of it.
we were in the same scene in the same movie. And
oh,
we had
really?
no clue.
That's how it goes, man. I'm actually doing one next week. Or no, I'm doing one Wednesday, day after tomorrow.
Whoa.
And I'm wondering.
Featured extra? You got lines?
No, I got a real.
Nice.
I got a real part in this one, a small part, but.
Can you tell us the role?
I can't tell anything. I can't say anything. I'm even just saying that. I was like, I just cursed myself. I'm gonna fucking get fired or cut.
That's an NDA.
I haven't signed one of those yet. But
yeah, but I know.
But I know for
like me. There's
They just hate it, especially with movies. But this one,
Well, when Ghostbusters was out here, that's when I had known they were like, it's not called Ghostbusters, it's called Flapjack.
I auditioned for that a few times before I knew what it was.
For Flapjack, right?
Yeah, but I was like, I knew Ghostbusters was coming to Boston, and then I was like, oh, this is Ghostbusters. Like, didn't you do that? Because I was like reading the scripts, and I was like, oh. Man, I must have auditioned. I told them, I was like, I will do anything to be in this movie, because I was such a big Ghostbusters fan growing up. And they tried. They gave me an audition for like every small part.
And they just couldn't find
just couldn't find anything for me. And then I was kind of happy at the end. I was like, oh, it was a shitty movie anyway.
I actually really enjoyed it. I'm also pretty awkward. I'm pretty biased because I think I like all the movies that are produced in Boston.
Good Will Hunting.
That was produced in Toronto.
That played a very big part in my life, though.
You feel like Will Hunting?
No, but when Matt Damon and Ben Affleck won the Oscar for that, I was in that Catholic school.
And you're like,
shall not be named.
Like, damn, this could happen.
I was like, holy crap! Like, dudes from Boston are movie stars,
Cambridge,
actors.
Cambridge.
That's true, but have you ever has anyone ever heard nowadays? This sound, dude. I can't even believe sometimes how old I sound. I hear myself saying it, but this whole thing of oh shit, like so and so made a YouTube channel and now they're Spider-Man.
That's real deal.
People blowing up from, people making it to real legitimate. Like Justin Bieber was discovered on YouTube.
Yes, sir. Early YouTube.
So it's like this nowadays. It's very kind of anyone can make it, but when Matt Damon and Ben Affleck won an Oscar and it was on the news here locally and it was like local boys, I was like, it was just like I had no clue. I thought everyone in a movie or a TV show was like Drew Barrymore. They were like from a family. They lived in L.A. They started as kids.
Knew the studio.
They knew everybody, which was kind of true. But it just put me in this mindset of it. Acting, being an actor was like a complete and utter total fantasy to holy shit. I can now point to these two guys and say like it's possible, and they're young.
At what point did you realize, like, damn, I kind of got to be entrepreneurial as a stand-up comedian? I got to understand business.
That was around 2009, 2010. My good friend Kyle Plouffe, who's still a comedian, but he's more of a writer now. He lives in L.A. He's a screenwriter.
Shout out to Kyle.
I just saw him. I just hung out with him a couple weeks ago, but he really sort of was like, hey, man, if you want to do this, like, you got to do it like this, and he sort of taught me how to be a businessman, and it was really I always got to give him credit. Like everything changed after that, like because I just thought it was all about being funny, and like that's 10% at the best.
It'd be nice if it was just like that, right?
I wish it was. Some guys, and everyone thinks they're this guy. 1 in every million guys get to be just funny, and they can be a complete prick, hard to work with, difficult, aloof. 1 in a million guys get to be like that. Dave Chappelle maybe is one of them. But the majority of people, it's like you gotta work really hard. You gotta be kind of like nice, even when you don't want to be sometimes. You gotta be easy to work with. I'd say that's number fucking 1.
Yeah, people gotta like you, right?
People just gotta go, huh? Like I called Conor. He was there on time. He didn't waste anyone's time. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like people remember that shit so much, and I think that was a big thing. On my early days of comedy, when I wasn't necessarily killing every night, I always had like clean clothes. I did the time they told me to do, and I didn't like bug anybody.
Did your job and left.
Did my job, like send a thank you note the next day, thank you email, whatever. And yeah, but Kyle Plouffe taught me how to send. I remember the best advice he gave me, and I try and pass this on. He was like, just do one thing every day to move your career forward. Like, write a joke, do a podcast, do
I do the same shit daily.
Film a sketch, like whatever.
Meet somebody.
Just one thing a day, and you'll you'll be shocked
Momentum.
at how that starts to click. He's dead. He was so right. And it was a time in my life where I was kind of doing a lot of changes anyway. I recently quit drinking, so I was starting to work out and get back in shape. So I was kind of going through this like, what's
You got a little fervor in you.
yeah, a little fervor in me. Like, let's get the changes going. Like, let's make changes.
You didn't feel as vapid. Is that the word?
Vapid.
Vapid.
So Kyle was like, and Kyle was doing very well and working all the time. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do. I basically did half what he did, and I started booking weekends. And you were talking about being a full-time comic. It's like I had the benefit of a horrible recession, right? So it was like I was trying to get jobs. I couldn't even get a job at like Uno's Pizzeria, fucking waiting tables and shit.
You would have had material for years.
I know.
bro.
Yeah. Clam chowder.
Or Bertucci's. Whoa.
So I was just like, well, nothing to do. Go hang out at the comedy club. Go like do open mics. And I started hosting. And then it was like I was hosting every weekend. And then it was, holy shit, I got, 50 weekends a year hosting. Now I'm still poor, but I'm doing
How old are you
stand-up.
at this time?
I was like 27, 28.
So I think what's interesting about that is like, mind you, when I was like 19, when I had started doing stuff, I was like, yo, 23 seems old as hell.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But now that I'm 23, it's like, for me, it's like mad reassuring to hear people at like starting their careers at like 29 and 30 and then it growing over a 10-year period.
I didn't even do stand-up for the first time until I was 24 years old. So,
And then when did you start getting good?
I mean, that's a really big question because I think there's different stages of getting good. Like,
When did you start developing that confidence? You feel me?
Yeah, I do know. I know exactly what you mean. I think it comes in stages. I always say like progress in comedy is a lot like progress in dieting or working out. It's like very subtle.
You hit some plateaus sometimes.
You're not really seeing it as much as other people. Like you're doing it every day. You're seeing such subtle things. You're not going to wake up one day and be like, I'm fit. It happens slowly over time. People who don't see you, they see you every couple weeks. They see big changes. But for you, it's kind of like, I do think there's these moments in stand-up over the years where you have these breakthroughs. If you're lucky, I guess. You have these breakthroughs where things do kind of change in a night. And I remember, or in a couple of days, and I remember over the years, there was like, at 3 years, I had like a new level of confidence. And then at 5-6 years, I had like a new level of confidence. And I remember sometime around 7 years, I really started to feel.
You're like, I'm the fucking GOAT.
I started to feel just like, oh, like I could, like nothing scared me anymore. It was like everything bad that can happen has happened. You've performed sick. You've performed sad. You've performed.
I've taken my lumps, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And you've bombed enough. You've killed enough. You can. It can go either way, and it's not the end of the world. Whatever happens, but definitely once you get confidence in your. I always tell guys, once you have like a great closer, once you really get that fucking great closing joke,
that knockout punch,
once you have that in your arsenal, you start to like perform differently because you're like, I know what's coming. You don't know, but I know how this ends, and it ends fucking sweet. So just relax, everybody, And then that
stick along for the ride.
Yeah, that kind of gets you into a new level. And then I think even in the past couple years, I hit another level like where it sounds super stupid, but I try and be honest as much as I can. It was like I won this award for comedy, and I was like, I never put much stock into anything like that, but I was like, hey, I guess maybe I am fucking good at stand-up comedy. Like, it's not like it was like since the moment I'd met Kyle Plouffe, I was just like, like head down, hustling, trying hard, not really thinking about, judging myself at all, just going. And then I was like, hey, all right, this magazine said I'm funny. Like, maybe I am fucking funny. And I noticed all of a sudden I had like just a little bit more of confidence to bomb. And then I was like, oh. And I think in 10 years I'll have even more. You know, I opened for guys who've been doing it 20, 30 years, and they are better. You know, it's like you really do get better as you do it.
So, one thing, let me just
It kind of was.
No, you look. Oh, this actually looks like Rogan. This is awesome.
Pull that up, Jamie.
Love that guy. Yeah. So, how important has persistence been to you? You know what I'm saying? Let's say like out there right now, there's like a 19-year-old kid. He thinks he's funny. Probably stupidest jokes of all time.
Yeah.
Has it really been like an everyday type thing? Like, all right, let me just go through the reps.
Yeah, I think it's easier to start when you're.
How do you practice? Like, do you just
So that's a good question, right? I just got asked this the other day. It's hard to. You want to stay home and write like a perfect act, you know, before you go do even an open mic night. You're like, I want to show up. I want to be fucking really funny there. I want to be one of the best. So some guys, myself included, you'll spend months writing before you go on stage for the first time.
What's writing to you? Like posting up in Starbucks and like typing on a Pages document, or?
Not really. I've never really been a Starbucks guy. I've always kind of been alone in the bedroom or alone at a desk.
Or alone in a Cumbies.
So yeah, Cumbies. I'm a big Cumbies guy.
Yeah, there's a lot of material coming out of Cumbies.
I go to libraries occasionally. When I'm really working on something, I'll go to a library. Gary Goldman kind of taught me how to do that.
JFK, like right downtown?
No, I'll go to the Southie Library in where I live. Just go down the street.
Oh, you live in Southie?
Yeah.
I thought you said Chelsea on the phone.
No, Southie.
Oh, okay, word.
I've been in Southie for years. And
shouts out to Southie.
so that was Southie, and I'll go there, and old ladies will talk to me and stuff. Yeah. Can you believe this news? I'm like, do you come to the library to like chat?
Have you been doing this for 5 years?
So one thing you're not supposed to do here is chat.
Where is the Southie Library? Next time,
It's right on Broadway. It's like the parade goes right by it, right in the middle.
The parade. Whoa, forgot about that.
Yeah.
Whoa. So yeah,
but yeah, you got to be persistent. You gotta. But so I always tell people, like, if you're sitting there and you're like, I want to be a comedian, and all you do is sit at home alone and write jokes, it's like you really don't start.
You lack this, right?
Yeah, you don't start at all until you go on stage, and it's kind of like playing guitar. It's like saying you can read books about guitar and you can watch videos on YouTube about guitar, but until you're like fucking buy a guitar and play it, you're not playing guitar. And it's like until you're on stage in front of people and you're scared and sweaty, like you're not doing stand-up comedy.
So when you had started in the city, were you just saying yes to every gig?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, I was in New York, and I would do that, you know, hold the flyers outside on the street and hand out flyers for a couple hours or an hour.
You really are a Hollywood success story,
I did all
man.
that shit. I saw my old I remember one time I saw an old teacher from that Catholic school, like, she was
you're
like,
pissed. You're pissed.
She was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, man, I don't flyers for my comedy show. And she was actually like, I'm not surprised you became a comedian.
And you're like, I got a knockout punch waiting for you.
I'm like, come on down. I actually really like that woman. I had some good teachers here. It's so funny, though.
This guy, Will Noonan, really hated high school.
I really did hate it. I was thinking about it. It's so funny that you say that. I'm so old now, but I was still thinking. I was on the way here this morning, and I was like, I don't know how it got into my head, but I was like, man, the school nurse at that school was like a real shit. I was like, she was such a loser. I'm like, why did she want to be so friendly with
Dude,
everybody?
it's over, man. It's 18 years ago.
It is true though. You don't have to go like you don't have to like trigger me very. It's like the easiest thing to get me to talk shit about all boys Catholic schools.
Well, what's interesting is like, I mean, you probably, I think in any sort of success, when you achieve it, some people operate from a positivity side, like. But I feel like a lot of people hold on to a lot of stuff that fuels them. And so if you had a lot of L's early on, I could kind of see why you've been able to rise up.
Yeah, I don't, honest to God, I don't think I'm too much.
Do you operate from the dark side?
I'm not really like I'm not really fueled by my haters type of guy. I do have a couple, like, there's two people I do think of every time, like, I get a notch. Anytime something cool happens, I think about this booker who told me I wasn't funny, and I'm always like, I'm not funny? Like, you know what I mean? It's just shit like that sticks with you. I think that's very Irish to be like, I'll show you. But my whole thing with that school was like, I think the thing that the thing they always tell you at places like that is like, you're gonna like love this when you're older. You're gonna look back on this when you're older, and you're gonna see how great this all was. And I always just think the older I get, the more I just think that was horrible and that like it was a joke.
When you have kids with your 25-year-old wifey, they won't be going to Catholic school.
No, and it's funny. My girl went to. They won't even be raised Catholic, and my girl went to Catholic school and loved it. So it's like,
I can see why girls like it. Structure,
I think for girls though, it's a good time to be around all girls, and for dudes, it's just a terrible time. I had some friends there though who were good. Scott Beckett, Hugh Beckett. They're both musicians now. They were like fellow artists amongst
they're in the city.
The hockey playing dudes. I played hockey with some good dudes there, and like I said, that teacher was there, but. It's funny. It's definitely the underlying thing of this episode is like Will hated Catholic school.
Will versus the church.
I'm actually working on a project right now that I didn't realize until now. This moment now is like probably because it's kind of it involves me playing a Catholic priest.
Whoa. I could see you being like that young Catholic priest,
right?
like that Joel Osteen.
Yeah, like that's the whole point is
let God take over your body.
Yeah, like, well, because that's what I think when I just went to a funeral the other day, and I think as a comedian, I cannot help but watch priests and preachers and ministers and go, oh my God, like this dude just does the same thing I do, only he's not even pretending that it's about him a little bit. You know what I mean? He's
elaborate. What do you mean?
Priests, they
like entertain.
They're entertainers. All right. When you go see a comedian, there's ego in that comic. Like that comedian, as much as he's there to entertain you, it's like he wants to be up there too. Like
for sure,
he likes to be the center of attention, and that's what I think when I see a priest. I'm like, oh, this dude likes to be the center of attention. He likes to kind of work this crowd, right? Like, here's a little bit of he tickles your faith bone, your funny bone, your love bone, and it's funny, I kind of see it as a little bit more like dark than stand-up comedy, because stand-up comedy is like, I'm just here to make you laugh, man.
It's transparent.
Like, I'm not trying to be your best friend or tell you how to live. It's like those guys are like, this isn't about me. I'm only a vessel of the Lord. I'm
a messenger.
I'm just here. I don't even have sex or have fun. Like, I just sacrifice everything for you guys. And I'm always like, all right, dude. Like, you're just a buffoon.
I feel like that's an age-old connection between comedians and the church.
Yeah.
Like, there's just interesting stuff about it. Like, just it can seem cult-like sometimes,
Well, I see. Well, there's tricks to doing stand-up comedy,
But there's also
and they do them
But
too.
the one thing about church, which it does provide, is like, dude, I've said this like 10 times. Even if you're not religious, if you're like going through a tough time, it's easy to say like, "Yo, God's got my back. I'll be straight."
I am not an atheist, and I'm not anti-religion. Even
you believe in the G-man.
I believe in the G-man. I would say I'm like more of a Buddhist though, right?
Or the G-woman.
Or G-woman. Probably not a man or a woman. It's probably like a thing we can't even comprehend because
whoa.
Yeah, because we're just stupid. I always think when it comes to religion, it's just out of our realm of comprehension. It's like an insect can't comprehend, what we're doing. We're doing a podcast right now. Could we get a spider in here and explain to him that we're two men doing a podcast right now? It's a spider. It doesn't even speak fucking English, right?
Well,
doesn't understand anything.
I don't know, bro. That spider from Harry Potter, that massive arachnid.
That one might get it.
That thing was a genius, bro.
But
That thing started a colony, dog.
It's like aliens, right? There's a good chance that aliens could land, and it's like we don't even know what the fuck we're talking to. Aliens could be here.
We
right
probably
now.
know an alien.
President of the United States could be an alien.
It's probably your high school teacher.
Yeah, I might have gone to school on Mars, but I don't remember how we got to that. But
we were talking about
the G-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I think all that stuff's good. I just notice.
Well, just like when you had really tough points in your career, there was never a point where, because as a comedian, it's like, yo, you just eat shit for like 7 years. There was never a point where like, yo, I feel like I'm being pushed in the right direction though.
I'd say with me and that it was more like, because I had a bad drinking problem and I quit drinking, and I think it was more, that was when I felt the most like religion in my life. I was like, man, I just kind of have to hope that there's some power out there that's like pulling for me.
How long you been sober for?
10 years.
Congrats, man.
Thanks, man. It's I don't like to say sober because I do smoke pot. I'm like California sober, as they call it now. But I haven't drank
none
alcohol
of that devil's juice.
10 years. Just the other day, just a few days ago.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a lot like stand-up comedy. It's been so long now that I can barely remember what it was like.
Do you never get an urge?
Nah, it's so far. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like something I don't even.
It's a discipline.
It's just I don't even think about it. I think for first year, it was like, oh man, I go for a beer, but I don't drink beer anymore. Now it's just this. It's like a vegetarian who hasn't eaten meat. It's just not even on the menu.
Did it run in your family, kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Same shit.
Yeah, and it still does, I see. And now it's not alcohol anymore. Now it's like pills and other shit.
I feel you, dude.
Yeah, that's the new thing in the world. It's very easy. I mean, people have always needed an escape, and alcohol. I was on a serious tip, My niece is going to high school, and it sucks, like when we were in high school, or when I was in high school, I should say. Because you had Adderall even. It was like the drugs we took and stuff. It was like you had to kind of be a fuck up to die. Like you had to do heroin or maybe coke, get some bad coke. And heroin, coke, those were like, you were deep into being a bad kid to get that stuff. Whereas nowadays you could be like a regular kid and just have a couple Xanax and maybe too many beers and be dead.
They're easy to come by.
Easy to come by and easy to just OD comfortably.
Yeah, I think in retrospect, like when I picture like you growing up, it's like, yeah, like you would just go drink some Bud Lights underneath the bleachers, smoke a doobie type thing.
Yeah, but no one was ODing.
You're right that the big Xanax craze was probably like 3-4 years ago when it just started becoming wicked popular.
Yeah, the big thing when I was in high school was like alcohol poisoning. Getting your stomach pumped.
You ever had some of that?
I have. Yeah. I don't really remember.
You don't remember
getting my stomach pumped, so it's like.
I heard that's not even effective anymore. I heard the IV is more effective if you're like totally smacked.
Yeah, I remember. I can it was well over 10 years ago, but it was like I don't remember, but I remember it happening in high school, and that being the thing was like, oh, did you hear so and so had alcohol poisoning, they had their stomach pumped, right? But now that person just dies. It's like you shouldn't. If you're a high school kid, you shouldn't have to die over a stupid mistake like that. Like just
it's happened to my friend, man.
Fucked up. No, it happens too much, man.
My friend didn't die.
Well, that's good, but it's still like it's
close.
It's very close, and it can happen so easily. And Greg Giraldo's great comedian. He just died by not just recently, but he died by just having a few Xanax and a beer. Died in his sleep.
Why is it that it seems like comedians are always traditionally the ones who are fucking around with substances the most?
I don't know.
Is that?
I don't know. I think about that one a lot.
Am I wrong in saying that?
No, I mean, I think it still is. Like, I've watched over the years, it definitely, we're like the weed. Weed is like now it's everywhere. I think in the way Coke was everywhere in the 80s.
Dude, Union Square is wild.
Yeah. It's just everywhere, Which and I love weed. I smoke weed,
Do a little CBD?
Sometimes, but I mean, I just smoke it, so CBD is in that too, so. Like, if you smoke weed, you get CBD anyway.
But so you're not on that holistic tip, though.
Sometimes I have it my girl takes it more than I do. I just like smoke like the old fashioned way.
People love it, man.
My mom is doing CBD. My mom and dad and everything.
What do they have, ailments?
Yeah, they have old people ailments, aches and pains. But I don't know why that is. I think about that a lot. It's a tough. Being an artist of any sort, I think, is really tough. There's not a lot of. I think it's tough to not have any routine or anything kind of that you can count on.
You're scared.
Yeah, well, it's just even when you're successful, right? Like, I got a long way to go, but at least I'm full time.
You know, gigs are coming on the way.
I got gigs. I got myself booked. But it's like if
You met Paul Rabel.
met Paul Rabel. But, it's like still that I'm not working for Staples and I know I have my job in 4 years. But then again, you don't know that there either, I guess. Like any job could always kind of go. But there's something about being in show business where it's, I think, kind of extra in your mind at all times. Like, man, I always got to keep myself in this game or else I'll end up doing nothing. But that's one of the beauties of being a stand-up comic and not just an actor. Because when you're an actor, it's like you can go a year between gigs. But when you're a comedian, it's like you can always go to a live
that's
place,
awesome.
make that money, do your thing. Like that's really what brought me into comedy in the first place. Was like, I was like, man,
I can do this consistently.
Since I got out of acting school, I was like, I'm barely doing any acting. Like I just go on these auditions, but that's not acting, I was like, I just want to like do the thing I do.
So we got to wrap relatively soon. I had like one question.
Yeah.
You enjoyed yourself?
I did. I had a great time. I feel like we got deep.
I feel like we should do another one.
We might do another one. I'll do another one anytime.
Hopefully the studio's a little more done up.
I talked too much about Catholic school.
Yep, you hated high school.
I did not. I'm not one of those guys who like wants to go back to high school.
Yeah, okay, we get it.
But I loved Milton High School. My senior year.
Okay, you got to go see a clinical psychologist or something about high school, man. I don't know what to say. You didn't like it. So
can we just do another hour about Catholic school?
Well, we'll just get. I'll leave next time. We'll just get a priest in here.
Just get a priest in here. This is what the confessions were like at that school, like face to face.
Oh, there wasn't anything.
Yeah, and they would give you a card that had
to write it down.
Numbers 1 to 6, like the sins. 6 was masturbation. And I'd just go in and I'd go 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Until the guy's boner went away. I heard a funny joke yesterday. Let me tell you this joke I heard yesterday. I'd never heard it before. I really had never heard it. Street joke. Stop me if you've heard it. This priest. I fucked it up. This is how bad I am. I'm a comedian, but I'm terrible at like telling jokes that I've heard before from people. So these 3 kids are at Catholic school, and 3 boys, and they go outside and in the snow they take their pants down and they take their dicks out and they stick their dicks in the snow. And the nun comes out and she's like, "What are you guys doing? What the fuck are you doing? Like you got your dicks in the snow." Get out of my way. And one of the kids goes, he goes, "Hey, sometimes the priests like a couple cold ones when they get home from work."
That's vicious.
The best part was I gave away the punchline to that joke 3 times while doing the joke.
No, well, a cold one. I get it. Like a beer.
Like a beer.
But it's a...
I've heard a quadrillion Catholic molestation jokes. I had never heard that one.
That was a good one.
So I was like, that was a good one. That was a new one. Couple cold ones.
It's sick.
Are you Catholic? Am I like offending the shit out of you this whole podcast?
No, not at all.
I'm not against. I do want to say though, like I think it's great. Like I think the Catholic Church is great. AA, they do. AA is in churches. I think that's a great program. I just they fucked with me, man.
You hated high school.
Hated high school.
So real quick, you are full time in the city, right?
Yeah, full time.
So I've had tons of entertainers and creatives up here, and so doing it full time in Boston is not easy, as you know. The entertainment market is not as vibrant. So, what venues do you cycle traditionally, and like, are you in a position where you can just do one show a week and make a big check, or is it like you have to consistently gig?
Hell no. Boston, I would say though, Boston is pretty vibrant for. I don't know how it is for other people, but for stand-ups, you can do well here, or you can make a living here, and that's been true.
It's resurging, correct?
It's definitely resurging. I mean, right now you can do well. I think those of us who were sort of just still here from the last wave, or came from the last wave, we're doing well because we're like more well-known, established, yeah. But there's shows everywhere, shows every night. There's Laugh Boston, Nick's Comedy Stop. Those are two great clubs in the city. But then there's the beauty of Boston is the surrounding. I mean, from here to Worcester, there's 45 towns. They all will have comedy shows, once in a while. Worcester has 3 comedy rooms. Manchester, New Hampshire, Providence, Rhode Island. Parts of Connecticut, so you're like banging around all the time to all these different places.
But leaving the city is definitely part of the strategy.
Yeah, I think if you want to do it seriously outside of New York, you got to have a car, and you got to be willing to.
You got to have an Accord.
You got to have a Honda. I would recommend a Pilot, an Accord, CRV.
From your favorite New England Honda dealership.
That's right, dude. If you see me out there, say, what up? I love it when I go to Fenway Park, and I love it when people are like, give me high fives. Makes me feel like I play for the Sox.
ASMR.
Whoa, ASMR.
So that's kind of the protocol, right?
Well, I think it's, here's the thing I would tell people if they're out there trying to do it. It's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about big picture at all. Like, just focus on pick a project that you want to do, work on that. If you're a comedian and it's like, all right, I got an open mic at Sally O'Brien's on Monday. I'm going to hit that next Monday. From today till Monday, I'm going to fucking get my set ready and then go Monday, see how that goes, take it from there.
Got it.
I meet comedians and they're like, they've done 2 open mics and they're like, I don't know if I want to do my special on HBO or Netflix, and I don't know if I want to be a clean comic or a dirty comic, and I don't know if I want to do this. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you're really worried about it.
You don't get how the game works.
Yeah, like you don't worry about stuff until you got to worry about it. Just do the thing. Like, write the jokes, do the stand-up, and obviously everyone does
be
that
mad
stuff.
patient.
Yeah, you have to enjoy, like, find a way to teach yourself to enjoy the process, because it's really never ending. The successful moments, the moments of
big validating though, right?
Yeah, but they're quick. It's 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. You walk off stage and you get something. But for the most part, you're going to be working towards something most of the time. So, like, if you can learn to enjoy that, and, like, learn to enjoy kind of existing in that energy of, I got this thing on the horizon, but I'm on my way to it. That's a good way to be. When you start to think, I got to be famous or nothing, you're just going to be a miserable prick every day, and you're never going to do anything. You got to... There's people who sit at home and hit the keyboard all day and complain about the opportunities they're not getting, or the things that aren't happening for them. And then there's people who are physically out of the house doing it and getting it done. Those are the people who succeed, I think I've been both guys.
Those are the people who go into the back of a warehouse.
Those are the people going back to a warehouse, meet a total stranger,
and talk about how much they hate high school.
Talk about how much you hated high school. I know I'm gonna get something from somebody on this because some of the alumni are.
Well, it
like
just didn't
great guys.
stop. It just didn't.
You know why? Because no one's ever asked me about that ever before.
Don't. Hey, if you have Will on your podcast, man,
Don't ask.
don't ask him.
Don't ask him about Catholic school.
So, what are the prevalent? Drew had told me, but what are the prevalent spots right now? It's the Hideaway, Bill's Bar,
Hideout.
Excuse me.
Yeah, those are kind of like the cool bar rooms, you know? You got Bill's Bar, the Hideout, Capo Monday.
Where would you start if you were just starting as a stand-up comedian in Boston? Just that Middle East open mic night?
That's gone now.
Oh, no way.
That would have been what I would have said.
Would you hit that?
Yeah, I used to hit that right. I still will hit open mic. It's been a while because it's the summertime and I'm doing like random gigs anyway. But I mean, when you got material to work out, you got material to work out. And one of the things I noticed, I'd still say this is true, even though I haven't been to a New York open mic in a while. But I used to think the Boston open mics are like shows, you know, they're way better. A lot of open mics in New York, it's just comics in the crowd and on stage, and it's just a line of people coming up, kind of saying their shit,
Going through the cycle.
going through the motions, yeah. And then, but in Boston, there's more engagement from the audience. There's more mix of regular people, so they're not bad to do. I would say hit up open mics for a little while before you try and get on those shows, those kind of bar shows, you know, the Hideout. Before you go bug those dudes, the Hideout and Bill's Bar, like have a little something. You know, the beauty of comedy, I think, is it's old-fashioned in a sense. You go to open mics and just do your shit. You'll start making friends, man, and then you'll have a little crew, and then you and your little crew will start getting spots together, and it kind of
Starting an organized crime ring type thing.
Yeah, it happens very naturally. It's a lot like the mafia. I always think comedy's a lot like the mafia. It's like someone either brings you in, or you have the balls to like walk right into the social club and say,
I'm the new guy.
I'm the new guy. But there is that moment where you walk into a room where everyone already kind of knows each other. They feel like a family. And, who is this fucking guy? And he's got to you kind of got to earn your place at the table.
You say watch.
It's more accepting than it ever has been. It used to be kind of like hard to earn your place in the comedy community, but now it's not as hard as it used to be.
So, with that being said,
Having said that,
this is how we start and end the episode. This is weird for me because I'm so used to doing the other studio, but
I just want to say, you know, Lance Armstrong kind of already did this.
yeah, his was a little more yellow. That's gold.
Live strong.
And then we got the blue bomber. That's for you.
That's for me.
Both, yes sir.
Both of them?
Yes sir.
It's cool, man. These are my two favorite colors.
Give one to your wifey.
I will.
Your Dr. Wifey.
She'll be so happy. Yeah, she's gonna take care of me when I'm old. That's why. See, I think forward.
You're calculated.
I'm a calculator.
So listen, this is how we start and end the episode. You say hi, your name, and this is my golden hour. You might have to lean back just a little bit.
Lean back.
There you go.
Fat Joe.
Hi, your name, this is my golden hour. Directly after, no break.
Hi.
Your name, and that was my golden hour.
Hi.
So this is
your name.
Exactly.
Hi, I'm Will Noonan. So I'm Will Noonan. I'm about to do my golden hour.
I'm Will Noonan. This is. I'm Will Noonan. That was.
I'm Will Noonan.
No, hi. You gotta say hi.
Hi. I'm Will Noonan, and this is my golden hour.
Nice.
Second one.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm still Will Noonan, and that was. Hey, hi. Hello.
Whoa.
Hey. Sup. Hey, I'm Will Noonan, and that was my golden hour.
And this guy hates high school.
And I hate high school. Get out. Drop out.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Thanks, dude.